spring. G2 destroy Fnatic.
G2, the perfect teammate!
G2 Esports, Fnatic. The main event, for sure. I would have had these two teams in the top 5 teams in the world. Fnatic need to prove that the G2 victory wasn't just a fluke. Meanwhile, for G2, finally it's personal for them.
Fnatic, they managed to beat G2 Esports in what was an absolutely brutal game.
That's a lot of damage on Caps. Bwipo does not have the ignite, but Caps is just forced away. Caps has to flash the chase! Fnatic do to G2 what G2 have done so many times before. They obliterate them.
It showed just how relentless these two teams are when they go up against each other.
It was like a solo game. At some point, enemy team had 15 kills and everything could one-shot me. For the next game, I will look to just win my lane.
Stuff that didn't go as planned, so it was kind of unwinnable, but also, yeah, we were really trolling. This time we won't troll.
If you look at it from Fnatic's perspective, they beat G2 with their best champions and used G2's volatility against them.
Only very few teams can match them in terms of individual talent.
This is what peak League of Legends looks like, and it comes from Europe!
But luckily for us, we're one of those teams.
Fnatic are the kings of the West, and they will represent in the World Final!
I think that when all their players are playing well, they look at their strongest. Once some of their players start making mistakes, it's usually the others that pick up the pace.
Kind of scary thing about G2 is that they're doing even more than the human eye can sometimes notice.
G2, they look stronger than ever in Europe, and I have a feeling that they are looking to get revenge for their only loss of the split so far.
I was counting recently and I think G2 is 17-16 against Fnatic all time. So we can't lose to make them draw. Me and Mikyx have been killing our opponents 6 games in a row now, so there's just gonna be another one on the list.
If we were to pick on someone from Fnatic, it would probably be either Nemesis or Broxah. They seem like the easiest targets in their team.
I would like to see G2 try to come and steal my lunch money. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
You wanted to see that Dragon Rage?
Go, the black.
And a player like Jankos, for many people, the MVP of Summer, like Broxah, put him in the dumpster last time.
You see that in the First Blood participation, right? The First Blood King is no longer the First Blood King. Broxah's taken over.
Questions for me in this matchup are all around the early game. Bwipo, Hylissang, Broxah, they will have to unleash their aggression and their creativity to inflict enough damage so G2 doesn't get to their devastating mid-game.
We don't play late games. 2 or 4 games went past 30 minutes. Every early game was one early game.
Caps with an axe to grind, 98 times out of 100. He's looking to style.
So who wants to kill the king?
I am not a king, I am not a god, I am worse.
It's history in the making, and the outcome of this match could very well decide who gets the first seed for Worlds. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting games we're going to see all split, and I can't wait.
The games against them are always really bloodthirsty, really fun, and I just want to know where this one takes us.
I don't want to sound like too cocky, but I don't think we're gonna lose this split. I already visualize myself lifting the trophy. The first step is LEC and then Worlds.
Fnatic's aiming for first place. You want to be the best. And you want people to see that you're the best.
I don't think anyone would be okay with us going second. We want to like win everything.
Motivated G2, big match feel. Let the games begin.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the match of the Eons. It is Fnatic versus G2 Esports, 2 teams fighting at the top of the table to see who will come out on top. Now, last time, Fnatic got the best of G2. This time, will G2 rewrite the story and tie up the head-to-head? We're gonna have to find out.
Bit of a fever pitch here in Berlin. Drakos for this one. I'm rubbing my hands with glee. This is the matchup everyone wants to see. Didn't even intend that to rhyme, but I'm gonna take it. This is gonna be a fun one.
How can you not be excited for G2 versus Fnatic? The amount of history here, the quality of these players, the fan bases are huge, and like everyone is excited to see both these teams on form. We want to see peak G2 versus peak Fnatic going at it to fight for that #1 spot. Last game was, of course, very Fnatic favored very early on, and this time the most that we can hope for is a neck-and-neck battle. Toe-to-toe as both teams approach the draft. Fnatic on the blue side, their choice, and already heading into it, they've opted to ban the Qiyana, taking those options away.
They did also choose to pick blue side with their side selection, so G2 will be on red side again today. Last pick, Garen, probably not coming out this time on the red side. Usually, G2 are put onto the blue side because the idea of giving them counter picks is a very, very scary thing. Well, guess what? They got plenty of counter picks this time out.
Well, it looks like a lot of respect bans coming out from both sides right now, with Qiyana, Yasuo, and Lucian all being taken off the board. 2 target bans sent towards the bot lane, a lot of respect being shown towards Perkz, whereas G2 showing their respect towards Hylissang. The question is, will they look to ban away the Karma? It looks like they've actually decided to leave that one open.
And very interesting to see that after yesterday, where a lot of Fnatic's players during PGL talked about, wow, we got all of our standard champions because of all the bot lane ban focus. Aatrox, for example, left open for Bwipo if he wants it. Wunder strikes me as a player who would be happy to pilot a Camille or, for example, a Fiora into it. Wait and see what's happening. All we know is Karma open, Karma taken.
And both players looking to send a message, a quick Garen hover, a Pyke hover, lots of hints going back and forth. The Rengar a little bit mocking there, but it will be the Pyke now locked in. And after the most recent set of nerfs, that feels like it's going straight into the hands of Mikyx.
And Mikyx has been playing this so much. He feels that the changes that happened in the most recent patch, where Pyke now gets so much more gold, make this champion so much stronger and just give Mikyx more opportunities to be an even bigger carry. So I'm very excited to see this as an answer to the very classic Karma bot lane that Fnatic love to run.
And we're basically fresh off that run of games, 6 in a row, where there was a 2v2 kill for Perkz and Mikyx, and in that scenario, extra 300 gold is going the way of Pyke, and you got 2 carries in the bot lane in terms of gold, so you can understand the theory behind it. Broxah still gonna get the Aatrox. G2 are giving Fnatic those comfort picks. They clearly have a plan.
It feels like that both teams are getting pretty much what they want. If you're going up against Fnatic, you expect the Karma priority. You expect the Aatrox priority. So G2 are clearly saying, you know what? We're fine trading this for things like the Sejuani. We're fine trading this for things like the Pyke. Now the question is, do G2 choose to go for the Azir? Because it does not give you the same roaming power. It looks like that they're going for roaming power top.
Yeah, they're going to zoom in and actually pick up the Kled into the Aatrox matchup. A champion who's known for all of that healing, and the healing debuff relevant in this matchup. It's a very viable one to run the Kled into. Aatrox finds it hard to actually kill off the Kled.
We even heard from Bwipo yesterday on PGL say that he considers Kled to be one of the better matchups into the Aatrox.
And of course, overall, dealing with that healing reduction is going to be frustrating for the team, but Fnatic getting their hands on a ton of comfort picks for G2. Is there such a definition as a comfort pick outside of maybe the Pyke? We'll have to see if Fnatic is comfortable to adapt to some of these newer matchups. Kled obviously just recently rising to popularity. For now, early game is being denied from Fnatic. They do not want to give Broxah a comfort pick as well. So the Elise is taken away. We'll see what follows. While the Aurelia has now been denied potentially a flex pick for this team and lineup.
Well, Sejuani locked in. They don't want to have 2 lanes with strong melee synergy with that Sejuani. The Kled will also always have that synergy locked in. In this particular game, you have to imagine G2 is going to continue to live in the chaos. They want these high damage mid-game champions. They don't play late game, so they don't need to look into the scaling there all too often. To pick champions banned away by Fnatic. Action onto G2.
Really curious as to what they're going to prioritize. The Akali is something that Caps has used as an answer to Twisted Fate in the past. I believe the last time these two teams actually met up, this was the matchup that they played, and they sent Caps up towards the top lane.
But it will not be the case today. Yeah, some of the only good plays that we saw in a very difficult matchup for G2 were Caps on that Akali following Nemesis's TF ultimates, but this time he's going to opt for another rock in the mid lane in the form of Azir. Not something we always associate Caps with, but obviously had a solid game yesterday.
I'm very surprised that he would pick this into the Twisted Fate, not because that it can't play into it. It typically gets a lot of pressure, but you cannot match the roaming power that a Twisted Fate gets once he reaches that level 6 mark. Of course, he will run the teleport, so he has that global aspect to it, but we'll see how well he can track and control Nemesis from finding those side lane plays.
My impression is that he doesn't think he's going to get a lot of jungle attention here, and he just wants to find something relatively safe with wave clear, but I do take your perspective when it comes to if Fnatic are setting up the tempo of the game, ain't no following easily onto that Twisted Fate. can actually be picking up the Tahm Kench here on the side of Fnatic.
And a lot of semi-global and global pressure now as we see 3 teleports as well as the Tahm Kench and Twisted Fate on the side of Fnatic. A lot of potential to move across the map that may be difficult for G2 to match, but Perkz will grab a TP of his own, and we'll see what the mobility of a Pyke can do. But the debate here for G2 Esports as to what exactly they want to pull out in this bottom lane, it will be the Xayah, a priority pick, left untouched in this draft.
And it's something that works against all the pick power that Fnatic have put together, the gold card, the Gragas ultimate, easy to lift off through those for Perkz, going on to a golden oldie, one of his favorite AD carries in this Xayah. So Xayah Pyke, the Pyke priority, definitely leaping off the page. And do consider that to get that semi-global pressure from the Tahm Kench, you have to take the bad lane matchup into the Pyke, where the moment that ultimate is left available, the great health is ignored by the death from below.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm just looking across the map right now and seeing who has priority where. And it feels like that in the early game, Cap should be able to get pushed onto the Twisted Fate. Wunder will also be able to get pushed on towards the Kled, which means the Broxah may struggle in terms of some of his early clear. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Jankos actually threaten some invades, steal away some of the enemy camps, because often we will see Wunder Gragas a full one-side clear back to base and then look to get back on the map. But if he has no pressure anywhere, he may be limited in what he can do in terms of the early game.
In a huge matchup, but no doubt that there is pressure on each of the respective laners. The junglers, though, where we have our eyes after the last matchup. Wunder, of course, did do nothing wrong in the game, and he has a chance for redemption today up on the Kled, up against Bwipo's comfort pick in the Aatrox. Monster performances from him across the split. We'll see what Wunder has to say about it this time around. Two of the biggest teams, the two biggest teams, excuse me, in European history, now going toe-to-toe for the second time this split.
Feel good whacking the superlatives onto this one. Match of the Eons. Maybe it doesn't even need the subtitle. This is, of course, a world finalist versus the MSI champions. It is super hyped. It's a match watched around the world, no doubt. Korean analysts are going to be trying to pick my brains the moment I get back to the LCK. Unfortunately, we're going to have to extend our pregame a little bit longer because I spy with my little eye an in-game pause.
It just allows us to build tension.
Superlative.
Oh, yeah.
Latest. One time for the crowd. Old King, New King's Legacy Dynasty. That's it. The rest of the game, I swear, will take a little less narrative focus. But it's huge for all these teams, for all these players, these organizations. You know that a guy like Carlos is probably tweeting his face off right now. He's got so much to say. Now, of course, one player from G2 looks like had an issue loading into game, so we will get that issue resolved and be in the game shortly. But in the meantime, a lot to talk about in this draft.
Absolutely is. I want to go sideways, though. I got to know this, like an inside baseball thing. You know how people have swear jars? Do you have like a Legacies and Kings jar where every time you drop one of those, you got to drop 10 euros?
I'll be honest. There was, I'll say, an idle threat from Quickshot, and what we'll call it the narrative heyday last year. But since that idle threat, we've calmed down, and we only say it now as a...
And we can laugh about it now.
Yeah, it's okay. Enough time has passed, it's funny now.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a lot to laugh about in this game, because
that's what I hope.
These teams are usually jokers. G2 don't want to have a 0-2 week and a 0-2 head-to-head against really their only true competition for first spot. There are true implications on this game for G2.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, you won't have to wait much longer. The readies are coming in from the players. Everyone is getting set up. We will soon be into game for G2 versus Fnatic. It is the matchup that so many fans love to see. Drakos, send us in.
Vedius, you don't need me when you've got dubstep and airy vocals in the background. You can hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Berlin is alive for Fnatic versus G2. It is our match of the week. It is the match of the Eons. It is the match that everyone around the world has their eye on. As you said it, PapaSmithy, former world finalist versus the MSI champions. But there can be no doubt when it comes to G2 versus Fnatic, the Fnatic fans right now. And this is not the LCK, Papa. They're not taking turns. It's an all-out brawl, and you can see why. 18-17 all-time record. Fnatic can tie it up right here.
Nothing to pick between the two teams. I just hope we end with a respectful handshake on all sides, in the crowds and on the games. But in the actual game, I think there's going to be some fireworks. With this many pick champions, it just feels like the lull state has a big X through it. It's going to be the kill state in this one.
So in terms of overall win conditions, something that we're going to be seeing a lot from Fnatic is something we've seen from them all split long, and that's look for picks on side lane. When you have a Twisted Fate and you have a Tahm Kench, one of their biggest strengths is their ultimate and their ability to appear when you're 1v1ing in a side lane. So this is going to be something that they're looking to leverage once the map state opens up. G2, on the other hand, they offer a lot more value in these teamfight situations, but that's not to say that they can't skirmish themselves. Kled and Pyke excel in these kind of environments, and they have a lot of mobility to their name to help catch up to and keep up with all of these semi-global odds.
And then you always want to look at the permafrost cooldown, where that can actually combo with melee threats. Kled Sejuani sounds pretty scary the moment that those vicious tendencies come in from the Kled. And Pyke can also open up some CC trains in the bot side. So there is definitely, to me, a top side or bot side threat coming through from Jankos. One thing I like to look at here from Fnatic, though, is the fact that we saw yesterday, you know, another Karma draft. They were able to pilot into teamfight victories where it felt like there was no way back in for Schalke. This time, their teamfight damage is a little bit more hodgepodge. Spot lane, Hylissang already trading hard.
Bad thought. Now stepping forward, Perkz looking to get a little more damage down onto Hylissang. The thick skin, I don't even know. It is going to be available. Will he use it here? Fnatic able to back off. Hylissang, though, playing with fire. Pulls back. Might just be able to get first blood here. Could be disastrous for Fnatic. Freeze frame, not going to matter in the end. Gragas is on the bottom side as well. They have to be careful. Perkz and Mikyx need to back off. No flash available for Mikyx. Does have the Phantom Undertow, should be able to take him out to safety. Rest of the team now backing off. Explosive bot lane so far.
G2 have no jungle support either. Notice that Sejuani is up on the top side of the map, but what this does give Jankos an opportunity to is to play towards the enemy top side jungle. We talked about this in the draft. Gragas typically does a full one side of the map clear, and then he looks to base as an all-in happens to
Wunder. Forced to flash away. Bwipo trying to follow up here. Dark and Blade will not connect. And Broxah now moves down. Perkz has to be careful. His flash is still up and available. Phantom Undertow to block the stun, but no! Broxah not going to let it happen. The body slam flash and first blood for Rekkles.
Huge punish coming out from the side of Fnatic, and massive misplay from Perkz and Mikyx by forcing that all in. They put the lane in a situation where they had to try and push it out, but they should have known that Broxah was on the bot side of the map. They should have been aware, as Wunder now getting engaged on by Bwipo.
Demounted once again. Disastrous position to be in. Obviously loses access to half the abilities in Kled's kit. Difficult lane phase already. Cap's doing well in the meantime, knowing the jungler is bot side, but things not looking quite as clean as G2 may have liked in the early game.
And whenever someone dies between two big fan bases, the blame game will always come through. But I actually think you're right on the money, because as you mentioned, Jankos got the blast plan in. It was clear that Gragas was playing bottom side. Perkz and Mikyx had to play like Gragas was there, and they chose a moment to push up when they couldn't afford to. Good target selection for Broxah. I'm sure we'll see a replay to see all the machinations there, but that was going to be great capitalization, because it could have just been Jankos hitting a super fast level 5 with all the extra big buffs.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think the bright side for G2 is that Jankos was able to steal away that blue buff, but of course, Fnatic walk away as the victors, given that they found that first blood, and now Broxah, he's still on the aggressive. He hasn't cleared out any of his topside jungle camps, and he's still only level 3 right now.
And a small point to also discuss is that blue buff was stolen, but no camps were awarded. Broxah unsighted.
Predator coming through. Wunder starting to stack up a bit. Good damage. Laid out, but I don't think they're going to try to go for the dive again. Broxah's still stepping forward.
Tactical recall.
This is just posturing. These guys are just standing in front of each other and flexing. No one's going to commit to anything else. Wunder still has to be careful, however. Where the ball lane goes to the ball lane. Not going to matter. Hylissang, though, locked up. It's going to get pulled back under tower. That's going to be massive. Thick skin isn't going to be enough to save the day. Now retreating as Rekkles will do his best to protect his lane partner, but no doubt, bot lane once again looking for the all-in at every opportunity.
This is the kind of bloodbath that we wanted to be seeing from both these teams. Fnatic, they did draw first blood, but both junglers trying to assist with pressure. Caps and Nemesis now going at it in the mid lane. Not quite as exciting as what we've seen everywhere else, but a bit of trading regardless.
Important to note that both mid lane and bot lane know they're isolated. Broxah continues to walk. He's still level 3. He doesn't care about camps.
Has to be careful, though. Stacking up. Here's the shotgun blast going to take it back. The quick remount, and will be able to walk away. But Broxah sacrificing himself. Throwback to the first time these two teams went toe-to-toe. Jankos on his own. Great advantage, but Broxah was the one everywhere on the map fishing for these kills.
But it's important to note that even though he's gone from unconventional ganks, he's only had 3 camps cleared and an assist. It isn't everything touching goal, the Midas touch he had last time. There is a real cost to this, and that is that he is going to be significantly late on even a level 6.
This is called a high-risk, high-reward gameplay, and right now, it is not paying off. Only level 3, Jankos level 5, Caps is there to support him.
fighting over every little bit of experience they can. Wunder will not be locked down here on the top side of the map, but meanwhile we are poised for a bit of a fight. Caps is now going to push it back. Nemesis is going to be in trouble. Immediate, the follow-up CC is there. Nemesis running for his life. The hook will not connect. The minion body blocking there. But Broxah now there to disrupt. Caps needs to run for his life. He's used all of his cooldowns. Can he make it out to safety? The ignite ticking, and down goes Caps. Hylissang will grab the kill. Mikyx next on the list. That's going to be an acquired taste, but the tongue lash body blocked in the end. Fnatic turn the play.
The counter roam and the turn of the play actually benefits Broxah in a big way. He needs any experience or gold he can get with how far behind he is. Means he won't necessarily have to be there to answer plays from behind. He'll even steal away some Raptors on the back end. If you're going to gamble like he has before, you need things to pay off. That is an example right there for Broxah.
The reality is we're seeing G2 go for a lot of these early game skirmishes and they're getting punished for them. This is very reminiscent of what we saw the first time that they met, where Fnatic found one kill and then another, and the problem is they then snowballed it so effectively that G2 never even got a grasp into the game. So G2, they need to slow down this game, otherwise Fnatic will look to run away with it.
I'm going to watch the replay of the play here. I think you caught the most important moment, Drakos. The fact that the Bone Skewer was interrupted on this play and they could chase and kill closest target. What usually happens in a G2 game is when there are these isolated trades, they've picked enough priority lanes that someone is winning off the screen, even if Fnatic get a pick. But it's important to note that Wunder needs to be babied just to be able to get to his next back timing, because he wanted to hit level 6. He didn't have teleport to get back to lane. With the ult, he can roll back to lane. Right now, we're not seeing the Kled counter pick pay off in a big way against Aatrox.
But of course, as interesting as top lane is, we look once again, and this is, it feels like the same story again. We mentioned it once already. Let's look at the numbers to back it up. Broxah down in CS, didn't matter. 8 kills plus assists in 15 minutes. This man was all about the ganks, and Jankos, as good as he did for himself, could not stop his team from falling flat. So might just have the same story once again.
And that, right now it's resulted in a 1.2k gold lead for Fnatic. You can see that he is many camps behind Jankos. He is a level down behind Jankos, but it does not matter because the rest of his team has succeeded. Advantage for Bwipo, advantage in terms of gold for Rekkles. Fnatic looking good in the early game.
But we need to investigate the theory here and say, yes, the team is ahead in gold. 100%. He himself is down in gold because he's down 20 CS. So because of that, it is going to advantage his laners when he's not there. So his lanes are very far ahead. It requires G2 to either invade and attack Broxah in his jungle or try to play where they know Gragas isn't.
Bwipo backing in darkness. G2 will not try to force the play, waiting to see what this matchup turns into as a few more items can come under Wunder's belt. The Tiamat usually a first choice, but Jankos being spotted out means Bwipo's back timing is confirmed to be optimal, as Broxah will now turn his sights towards the top side of the map, potentially try to contest here.
Now notice how Bwipo is still holding on to his teleport. He has not used it yet in this early game, which means that it would be available for a potential roam. Hylissang is hanging around mid, Broxah is hanging around mid, Fnatic have the right set on Caps.
Easy for Mikyx and Caps to just walk away from this play, however. A lot of resources will be need to be committed to lock down an Azir or a Pyke. Sheer mobility on both those champions. So Fnatic pitch for the play, but will not find it.
Want to draw the viewer's attention to the teleports right now for both sides. There are a lot of teleports in this game. They're very important, but right now G2 caught Hylissang.
Waiting, buying time. Cap's not going to force the ultimate yet. The stun is there. Going to try to stop the big team from coming through. Hylissang now taking down Broxah next on the list. An explosive play, and G2 in an instant find 2 kills.
That's an entire team collapse from G2 to make that. Looking for more. Here they roll.
Keep it going. Bwipo waiting in the brush, but does get caught out. The ultimate, the flash over the wall. Caps pushes it right back and says, "Welcome to the family." Takes him out in an instant. Caps grabs that one. Nemesis now wants to turn the play back, but will just walk in and walk out.
And this is the kind of deadly play that G2 plus the Pyke represented at MSI. You and I were together to watch the last time. Things got really damn frisky. This time it's Mikyx jumping onto the pick, but they found Broxah. In these skirmishes, you've seen that the Gragas just isn't able to really out-skirmish with this much of a lead from G2.
And remember, we were talking about the teleports, but honestly, the one from Wunder here was not necessary. They caught Hylissang in transition. They knew that he tried to set up a play with Nemesis and Broxah, but Nemesis goes back to base. In that moment, G2 instantly look to collapse. That very brief window, they take advantage of. They also notice that Bwipo has TP'd in, and they feel the need to hard commit, because why not? They have the tools, they have the numbers, and they find themselves another quick kill.
We missed the late ult here from Nemesis. Wasn't able to get anything done because his allies had already been taken down. Rekkles also unable to get involved in that fight with his shielding, which would have been so important. Gotta be assertive with these picks. Speaking of picks,
Caps just dashes right out. Predator now consumed on the side of Broxah. Mikyx and Jankos now return to the mid lane. Nemesis has to be careful. Broxah the Predator still ticking. Here comes the hook. Where is it going to go? Does get it right on the money, but Mikyx now going to be in trouble to flash out. Perfectly timed. Broxah. How much damage back will he take? The turret doing a decent amount of damage in return. The rest of the team now going to back away. No one's grabbing a kill quite yet. Caps, though, committing a good amount of damage.
It feels like Broxah is in the right place at the right time for a lot of the plays that G2 have been trying to make. He was there to counter the gank in bot lane, he was there to support Bwipo in top, and now he's here to answer this setup play onto Nemesis. He's doing what he can to try and match the aggression from G2, but it feels like while the early game was going in Fnatic's favor, he cannot keep up with this relentless pressure that is coming out from the duo of Mikyx and Jankos.
Now watching G2 get another turret played in mid as the game goes on. We might have to hold that point. Hylissang already.
Coming out, Hylissang going to be locked up. And Pyke just going to say goodbye. Rekkles now going to be in trouble. The shield not going to matter too much, but he will be able to retrieve the ulti. Connects over the wall. The long shot. Jankos finds his mark. The double drop for Pyke. And money in the bank for G2.
Money, money, money for Mikyx. This man now has a 1,000 gold advantage over Hylissang after picking up those 2 kills. He is primed, poised, and ready to carry, but Fnatic are looking to answer back.
Yeah, trying to make a TP play to try to get this top lane turret, only going to get a plate from it. G2 can continue to play for picks with Rekkles abandoned. Fnatic, we already outlined, doesn't want to play the 5v5 team fights. They want to play with strong side lanes, but those side lanes can never be set up if they have to respond to G2 outright aggression every moment.
And PapaSmithy, something you wanted to talk about was how do teams deal with the Karma Tahm Kench lane? How do people answer Fnatic's typical strat? We'll get to that in a second, as it looks like Mikyx will just dash out of there.
Walkabout.
But what we've been seeing is just Mikyx abandon the lane, look for constant roams, because this Tahm Kench cannot match his mobility. G2 are constantly forcing skirmishes where they always have a numbers advantage. And so rather than try and just beat Rekkles and Hylissang at their own game, they said, all right, we'll abandon you and we'll attack elsewhere. And so far, they've been doing it extremely well.
And you can see that Mikyx's gold stats, 1,200 gold earned from that ultimate, helping buff up what is now a 3.2k gold lead on the side of G2. But Fnatic have secured the Herald. They do have a chance to respond and hope to take some objectives of their own. For now, though, Rekkles and Broxah just on wave clear duty here in the mid lane. We'll see what the next Fnatic play will be.
And while it's not felt right now, I really do feel like this Kled could be the crown jewel in the comp to answer the Fnatic draft. I think we all saw coming that G2 left open, the champions we see like the Karma. Because if you try to play 1-3-1 in side lane, charging straight down the mid lane on the 3 is very possible. The turret dive and pick power from G2 is insane as this game goes on. And Azir's getting a lot of free money in the bot lane, doesn't quite get in the last play.
Now a perfect position for G2. Fnatic, of course, using the Herald on the top side, respond with a play of their own, but the Dragon going down as well. Mikyx needs to be careful. CC locking him up. He's so incredibly squishy, and that's all she wrote. Shut down for Broxah.
G2 was spread quite thin there, and Fnatic looked to take advantage. They were ahead of the play because they used their Rift Herald top, which means that Bwipo and Hylissang could already start roaming down. Perkz and Mikyx overstay. Mikyx doesn't have the flash. This gives Fnatic a kill and a little bit more control over the map. Good pick from the side of Fnatic.
Now Fnatic will try to return to mid lane and get priority with their numbers advantage, but Jankos can slide in, the recalls have happened, Twisted Fate's back to the side lane. Fnatic want to play a wide map until maybe Twisted Fate hits 3-4 items, they can try something, but largely they want to play in those side lanes. That's plenty of time for the hyper-mobile Mikyx to reset, for Wunder to look for his next roll through. You have to be so careful here, you need really strong control wards not to just be caught in transition.
Can't afford to hesitate on these plays either. Jankos not one to hesitate whatsoever, looking for the stun, pulled back to the team. Hylissang now locked up and taken out. He's going to be able to walk away. Jankos in trouble though, knocked back. They're trying to find a response play. Nemesis now moving in. Mikyx knows that his jungler is dead and will back away. 1-for-1. This is just a brawl.
It absolutely is. There's no net increase there, except Bwipo gets to continue to push up, and that means that the Twisted Fate ultimate is down for a while. Caps has been off-screen almost this entire last 5 minutes. Plenty of gold. Here he is, though.
Goes in, gold card connects, and Nemesis flashes out to safety. Well played to get out of what looked like a potentially unsurvivable situation. Caps taking the bad side of that trade overall, but Mikyx looking for one more attempt. Hylissang, though, there will stop him in his tracks.
Mikyx going to be forced to disengage alongside Caps. The risk of a collapse from the rest of Fnatic is too high, and now that the map is starting to open up, you talked about it, PapaSmithy, the wide map is how Fnatic want to play. They have a lot of semi-globals that they can use to catch people in transition, catch people off guard, and look, they may have caught Perkz.
Bwipo, Perkz now going to be in trouble, will be pulled back, can't try to make it out to safety, but Broxah once again with the shutdown. Mikyx now running for his life. Bwipo starting to move forward, but has he been off more than he can chew? No is the answer, ultimately getting yet another kill.
And we talked about it, Fnatic punishing G2 as they move between the lanes, as they make these rotations, is when Fnatic excels. And now they've been able to equalize the kills, close the goal gap, and it's all just great utilization of where they have pressure and punishing the oversight of G2.
Absolutely, they had topside control. Perkz didn't play around that, and the Infernal Chains having that preferential interaction with the Xayah ultimate. You still tug her back, you still can get that sweet spot. Those two go down, and now Nemesis can actually make a side lane play and not be worried about a charge mid lane on the three members. Rolling through the replay, and this interaction here on the chains is what really undoes Perkz.
You can see how the double knockup ends up coming through from Bwipo. There's no time for Perkz to react because he's got no flash, he's got no heal, and the damage from Bwipo is just so strong. He finds himself two, and Fnatic look good, but now there's a play in the bot.
Caps now trying to escape. Will be forced to use the ultimate there. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, a tower, Tier 1 has now been taken by Wunder and Jankos. The team up there very deadly. Potential for the Permafrost to lock up a Mikyx. Now permanently visible for a bit of time as Caps once again dashes up safety. Nemesis, though, with no mana, does have to be a bit careful. Solo laners and junglers teaming up.
Flash on the Perkz.
Are alive. Perkz getting locked out by the Aatrox. The forcing the flash out. The TP now coming into mid lane. Mikyx flashing forward, bringing Bwipo back. Jankos is here in the meantime. Here comes the Kled as well. The Karma first in line. And Rekkles goes down. They're looking for the resets now. Bwipo incredibly low. Mikyx, where's he going to go next? The Grey Health not going to be enough. Mikyx gonna look to grab another, but misses. Doesn't quite connect. Caps on the backside. Fishing for a little bit more. The Kled will not connect, but Jankos gets enough movement speed to dash forward. Caps dashing in, fishing for the kill, and he'll find Bwipo.
And G2 find themselves 3 quick kills, and it is Fnatic that is now punished. They look to attack Caps on the side lane. They could not find the kill. Meanwhile, 3 other Fnatic members tried to force a pick of their own, and they overextend. The top side was pushed in for G2. They found a successful collapse, and now it is G2 who are once again in the driver's seat.
Will connects, Broxah will just dash out to safety, but G2 instantly laying down vision, trying to set up control on the bottom side of the map, see what else they can grab here. Perkz not afraid to even go for some camps. Fnatic, in the meantime, will reset, pick up a bit of farm, and try to recover before the next play.
Very fast, the shoe is on the other foot. It is very much anything you can do, we can do better, as G2 are the ones coming from multiple directions that time when we get to it. It's just the thing that's happening here. It's all about the tug of war of minion wave pushes and Fnatic saying, no, we've got the Xayah once again. She can't possibly have her ultimate up. First, we're going to start off with the bot side of this play, though, as this was actually overriding the stun in a very creative way by Cap.
And this is an example of Fnatic doing exactly what they can do. They have pressure in this situation. They can look to make this pick, but now they've decided to commit onto killing Caps, which means the 3 in the mid can't look to do the same. So by forcing an overcommit here, it buys time for, as you can see, the Kled and the Sejuani on your mini-map to set up the flank from behind.
This is super duper aggressive. He flash queued in to try to get the kill, disregarding that the Kled and Sejuani were no longer pushing in topside, and that's why the cleanup here with the formation, the fact that Perkz can continue to fight, is very clear. I love the Azir being ahead of the play as Wunder tried to hedge off all exits for Bwipo.
But now Hylissang once again may have overstepped Broxah to see if he can fish a kill back to Tahm. Kench set in the sights of G2, picked off again and again. The 5th death for Hylissang and more money for Mikyx.
Exactly, another one where he gets the kill involvement and ends up with more of the benefit. Drakos takes down the Drake here. This map is falling apart when it comes to areas that Fnatic control. Right now it looks pretty damn risky to play 3 lanes.
Mikyx has more gold than Broxah does right now, and it is all off the back of that passive. He is moving around the map, finding these skirmishes. G2 doing a bit of a G2 special, even without that much control, just the power of Fog of War. Fnatic have no information. This duo is securing a 20-minute Baron.
This is the area G2 came from before, so they know it's not warded. They've used it multiple times. This Baron is free.
Taken away, G2 with a massive advantage now, nearly 7K in their favor. Broxah will try to stop a recall, but will not get a single one, and Fnatic are clearly now on the back foot. We'll see what G2 does with this buff.
What a small window that G2 had to make that play, but they exploit it so massively. A trait that I think is so unique to G2 is how efficient they feel and how they utilize their time to make plays, and That was a great example there, securing that Baron without giving Fnatic an opportunity to even be aware of what was going on. Really good stuff, gives G2 a 7k gold lead now.
Definitely think it's some of the contest is lost in between all the skill expression and high skill players. Hylissang is hopelessly out of position.
Maybe the turn can come in here, but Hylissang will go down. No. Stopwatch now comes out, tries to buy a bit of time. Ulti on the backside, mitigating the fight. Hylissang in the midst of everyone, but G2 now running over the fight. Unstoppable from the Kled, now coming through, but will not find a target. Bwipo doing his best to disengage. The shutdown onto the Azir, though, is crucial. Bear trap on a rope will not connect any further onto Nemesis, but Bwipo is now down. The resets are here, and Mikyx gonna fish for a little bit more money, and that's all it is. G2 take the fight.
4 members are dead. G2 has the Baron, and they have a wave right behind them. They're looking towards Fnatic's base, and they're looking to do to Fnatic what Fnatic did to them earlier this split.
Absolutely looking to break the base. I'll get an inhibitor at minimum at this timer. That time is not long enough to end the game, but a couple more picks and G2 could be rolling through.
Won't stay for the inhib either. As confident as they are to force these fights, they will not take any unnecessary risks in this exchange. Retreating, knowing that they still have 2 minutes left on this Baron buff. Already a 4k power play. Let's take a look back at that last replay.
Yeah, Hylissang was the one here that really provokes all of this action. He knows Jankos in the bush, and all of his team is left him behind. Yes, you have a stasis, there's a global, but you're being cut off at every single approach against a Baron buff team that is so strong and team fighting at this point in the game, and from there it's very difficult for Fnatic to spare his blushes.
I mean, this Karma just does not provide damage at this point in the game. And trying to force that play was just a massive mistake from Hylissang. And it just gave G2 the free opportunity to force this fight. They are just so strong, so many second items coming through. Mickey's now level 11, and look how he's constantly looking for picks. It feels like Fnatic, after finding a lot of successful early game plays, have been still trying to make them without having the appropriate pressure to support it.
Confidence a good thing, but not in this case, costing them in the end as these plays come through. Nemesis stepping forward, Hook will miss, but G2 now barreling forward. I said on Wunder, but I don't know if they're gonna have enough damage to kill this one out. Now teleport into the mid lane.
Meanwhile, they've abandoned top.
Yeah, but they're just gonna grab another inhibitor. Is it really worth it to take 1 kill? Fnatic will now try to find a fight with a man advantage, but G2 not scared, are now going to back off. Predator coming in. This could be the fight for Fnatic. It could mean everything. They have the man advantage. What will it actually amount to? G2 on the retreat for now. The Azir, the Xayah, difficult to approach. They want to fight. They're gonna have to fight toe-to-toe with the Azir tower as well. Fnatic still hunting, still fishing, still looking. Hylissang pulled forward. Gold card for Nemesis on the backside. Will lock up Jankos, but they retreat to the tower. This is G2's safe haven. This is their Alamo. If they want to fight, they will do it here. Fnatic do not have the confidence to step forward. Meanwhile, Pyke continuing to threaten. Nemesis now in trouble. The lockdown is there. Oh, baby! Finds his purchase. That's the double. He may just miss for the triple. Rekkles now running for his life. Cap's gonna grab one as well. Meantime, Perkz going toe-to-toe with Bwipo. He is unafraid. He does not care about this Aatrox, and Bwipo is now running for the hills. The ulti will miss, but the hook goes in, pulls him right back, and Perkz finishes him off for the ace. G2 have done it right when you think maybe someone in Europe can challenge them. This is their moment. They remind Europe there are no contenders in the eyes of G2.
24 minutes was the game time. It was so intense, the action between these two teams in the early game. It felt like both of them were punishing each other's mistakes, but it was that one crucial one from Fnatic. That one where they tried to force a play mid, that overdive that allowed Baron to reclaim control of the mid, quickly convert it into a Baron, and then all of a sudden, Fnatic had no more answers. Beautiful play from the side of G2, very exciting game, and extremely quick in terms of how G2 were able to close that one out.
And proving once again why they deserve to be at the top of the standings after yesterday's performance. After the first match versus Fnatic, it was easy to see why fans could err on the side of Fnatic in this one. Why they could doubt G2 overall, but Fnatic could not find the win. A difficult game for the team as a whole. Hylissang caught out repeatedly, and G2 continue to look like monsters in this split.
And I do feel like that we got to see G2 punish the element of predictability coming out from Fnatic. All 3 of us in that draft knew exactly what Fnatic would go for, and it felt like G2 had the same idea, prioritizing the Pyke, grabbing themselves the Sejuani. It felt like that they had a very clear game plan of how to answer this, and the reality is it was let's not play around this lane. Let's just abandon it. Let's utilize the mobility of Pyke to roam around mid and force skirmish after skirmish after skirmish. And while a few of them went either way, Fnatic definitely found a good few picks of their own. Ultimately, it was just one skirmish too many that Fnatic could not answer, and G2 was able to run away with it.
And it does feel like it might send Fnatic back to the drawing board on a few things. Obviously, Tahm Kench is a fantastic champion in the meta, but not something we necessarily associate with Hylissang. And you saw the weaknesses of that champion exploited over and over again by G2, because Hylissang, a confident player, but potentially overconfident in that game. Of course, for more insight on that game later, we are going to turn to Youngbuck and Grabs alongside PapaSmithy and Xscoundrel for PGL. And as we get ready for that, me and Vedius can have a bit more time to talk, potentially give you your player of the game options in the moment. But overall, this is the funny thing, is because normally when we look at these games, I'm like, give me 50 minutes, give me a bloodbath. But there's no way either of these teams get to 50 minutes. I can't even imagine it getting past 30.
No.
This is going to be you thought the Liquid best of 5 was fast. Fnatic and G2 go toe-to-toe. The game times are going to be short in playoffs. That's all I have to say.
They're very efficient in how they close out games. They really like to double, triple, quadruple their gold advantages, and both share the same trends. But now both teams 1-1 in terms of how they've played overall this split. G2 do edge over with a 19-17 overall record, so Perkz can be pretty happy with that one. But I think it was a great showcase of some of the big strengths that Fnatic have in their playstyle of constantly looking for picks on the side lane, but unfortunately they couldn't quite net the early advantage. And one of the players we talked a lot about was Broxah, and how he took a very high-risk, high-reward jungle style of constantly trying to look for ganks at the cost of his own farm. And he ended up falling pretty far behind, but it resulted in kills. The problem is those kills didn't convert into more snowballing. So that Gragas ended up with less gold than Mikyx, and of course, that's perhaps not the best comparison when Pyke is getting all those kills and all that gold, but it definitely put Fnatic in a situation where their only real damage dealers were Nemesis and Bwipo. And in the mid game, you can't rely on just those two to win out on a 5 damage comp, or 4 damage comp, depending on your perspective of Sejuani, from the side of G2.
Incredibly difficult for Fnatic to come back in that case. We saw in the end G2 taking the victory. But of course, for your key player of the game, at LOL Esports on Twitter is the place. Jankos, Caps, Mikyx are your options. Jankos was no doubt the rock, folks. Caps had some flashy plays. Mikyx played a sick Pyke, though. We kind of forgot that it could be played in the support position, but definitely making the new mechanic where he just gets double money every time he finds a kill look pretty imba, if I'm honest. Pretty strong.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching Mikyx's Pyke. I think it was great, especially against Hylissang. He was able to get a bit of revenge, considering the last time they met, Hylissang showcased what he could do on the champion. But I think now that's enough from us. How about we toss it, Drakos?
Absolutely the case. Laure is standing by with Perkz. Let's hear what he has to say.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for joining me. They won the first one. You won the second one. Did you expect the game to go this way today?
Yeah, we did actually, because yesterday, after we lost, I was like, I couldn't believe what just happened actually, that we actually lost, because we were like, we did that, but we did, you know? So we were doing a draft meeting for about an hour or something.
Yeah, the draft meeting was needed, I think.
Yeah, we did a draft meeting, yeah. So we were doing a draft meeting for about an hour. And funny thing is, when they picked these 5 champions, they picked exactly 5 champions which we thought they were going to pick. So the draft meeting went as planned. And as soon as I saw the picks, I thought that there is very little way to lose the game, actually, yeah.
That's interesting, because usually when we see an Azir mid lane and standard picks, as we saw, nobody cares. But I mean, coming from you, it's actually unexpected. So does this draft has anything to do with the happy game you had yesterday?
Well, definitely.
And playing serious, I mean.
Well, definitely, like yesterday game, we we did it for the I guess for the fans and just to challenge ourselves as well. Kind of like maybe we can pick it and still win, but it's like, looking back at it, it's like really, it's really stupid, you know, in a way. So, but it's fine, you know, it happened, right? We can't do anything about against the happy games. You know, that's why we are a team. We like to have fun and have happy games and maybe like show off a bit. But yeah, this time it backfired. I guess you make it right today, so that's what counts. Jokes and fan service aside, how do you come up with this pick? Who decides this? Like the Anita, the Yasuo bot lane and so on? Well, it's usually just the players who want to play it, right? Like Wunder suggested that Annie might be good, and then I don't know if we tried it out in stream. I'm not sure if we played it one game in stream. But well, we just agreed on picking it here in that situation, and yeah. The Yasuo bot, well, Yasuo bot is a different story, because I think Yasuo bot is really OP, but no one can actually play it. So Yasuo is actually the most OP champion in the game, but you just need to be good at it. So yeah.
Makes me wonder something though. How can you sleep at night knowing that you have kids out there trying to copy what you do on stage? Because this Yasuo bot lane is really not a fun story in solo queue.
Well, yeah, I guess there's a lot of Yasuos in the bot lane now. I don't know what to say. Like, it's more like if someone wants to copy us, then they should maybe like watch our pro view and see how we play the champions, you know, and then maybe they can like learn a bit better. But they just want to play it, then they're probably gonna int, and that's not good for their teammates. So yeah, stick to it's only for. It's only like don't do it at home.
Don't do it at home. Don't do it at home, kids. Do you have any advice you can give to these players in low elo like me who can't play like Yasuo at all and who would like to play Yasuo bot lane?
Well, yeah, you could watch my streams.
Nice ad.
And then I play a lot of Yasuo there, and then you can probably see how I use my mouse and click, and then maybe you can like copy it, you know. And other than that, Yasuo requires a lot of discipline, so try not to die too much, and then you will do well.
Yeah, that's not for me. I hope you guys can take anything out of this. Thank you, Perkz, for joining me once again.
Thank you for having me.
We're gonna wrap up the week with post-game lobby. Take it away, guys.